Jeanne Destro again in for Ray Horner, and now one of our favorite guests that we have each week. He is a film studies professor, Joe Fortunato. Good morning, Joe. How you doing?
Good morning, Jeanne. Good morning, everybody.
And we're going to be talking about a classic movie this morning, and I had to twist Joe's arm a little bit to talk about this one. It's one of my very favorite movies of all time. I think it's hysterically funny. Maybe it says something about my psyche. Maybe I'm just weird, but I absolutely love it. It's called What About Bob, starring Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss. So tell us about this movie, Joe.
Well, this one is for you, Jeanne, although I will say that I think there's a lot of people in your camp. I think a lot of people really do love this movie. And as you mentioned, it's What About Bob, which was released in May of 1991, directed by Frank Oz, a story by Alvin Sargent, and written by Tom Schulman. As you already mentioned, it stars the great Bill Murray, Richard Dreyfuss, and Julie Haggerty. And for those who don't know, the story is about a successful psychotherapist, played by Dreyfuss, who loses his mind after one of his most dependent patients, played by Murray, is an obsessive-compulsive neurotic, tracks him down during his family vacation and quite literally drives him nuts. This was the highest-grossing live-action film released by Disney in 1991, so it was very successful, which is a little unusual because I'll start off with a bit of trivia that I'm going to guess a lot of people don't know. It's an old Hollywood superstition that you don't use a question mark in a movie title. The fear is that they do badly at the box office. The question mark implies doubt. Audiences don't like it. I don't know exactly how or where the superstition started, but that's been a Hollywood superstition. This one, negates that, obviously. There is a What About Bob, a question mark, and it was very successful. But just as an example as the other, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? No question mark, and that was purposeful. Anyway, little trivia for you there. The diagnosis of Bob Wiley by the psychiatrist Dr. Leo Marvin, played by Dreyfuss, was that Bob was a multiphobic personality characterized by acute separation anxiety and extreme need for family connection. Now, I'm no psychiatrist. I don't know if that's a legitimate diagnosis, but of course that plays into exactly how the story plays out, where Bob sort of infiltrates Dreyfuss's family. The casting on this was pretty interesting, actually, because Robin Williams was the first choice to play Bob, and he'd been nominated for an Oscar for his performance recently in Dead Poets Society, written by the same writer, and also delivered by Touchstone Pictures. But the time of the filming, Williams had just finished The Fisher King and was forced to turn down the role. He was too busy. Some other big names considered for Bob: Tom Hanks, Eddie Murphy, Steve Guttenberg, Jeff Goldblum, Dudley Moore, who hadn't really done a lot at that point in time, Michael Keaton, Rick Moranis, even John Travolta were considered for the role of Bob. For the character of Dr. Leo Marvin that Dreyfuss ended up playing, Frank Oz, the director, wanted Patrick Stewart, Captain Picard, to play that role.
Wow.
And other names that were considered: Jack Nicholson, Chevy Chase, Kevin Kline, Michael McKean, all for the role. And here's a double bonus: Steve Martin was considered for both roles, Bob and Dr. Leo.
It was such a funny movie. The scene that I always remember, and if people have seen the movie, and if they haven't, they can look forward to it, of Bill Murray wandering around. He's got his pet goldfish literally strapped to his neck in a bowl. He's got a fish bowl around his neck. He's such a weirdo. And he does drive Richard Dreyfuss absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and obviously Bill Murray's fantastic, but, you can imagine some of those other names I mentioned, and they would have, I think some of them would have been very good. It just would have been a bit of a different role. In terms of the two stars, Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss, they didn't really get along during filming. I mean, we hear that a lot, but this one was pretty bad. In fact, there was such a falling out at one point, they actually stopped production.
Wow.
And then sort of regrouped. But Richard Dreyfuss was doing an interview a few years ago, and someone asked him about the film, and he goes, how about it? Funny movie, terribly unpleasant experience. We didn't get along, me and Bill Murray, but I got to give it to him. I don't like him, but he makes me laugh even now, and I'm also jealous that he's a better golfer than I am.
That's funny.
That was Dreyfuss's take on the matter.
I've heard that a lot of people say that about Bill Murray, that he's a good actor, but he's kind of a jerk in person.
Well, a lot of people say that about Richard Dreyfuss,
oh,
too.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
you get some oil and water there, probably. I think that might have been just a fire waiting to erupt at some point. But another interesting sort of tidbit about that was that Frank Oz decided to direct the movie after Woody Allen and Gary Marshall passed. We talk about casting, but this kind of director casting there, those would have been interesting. But he directed the movie because at the time, his good friend and colleague, Jim Henson, who we all love and miss, died just a few months prior to the shooting of this film, and he felt that making a comedy like this would be a good experience to help him cope with the grief over the loss of his friend.
Wow.
Interesting, good tactic, but didn't quite work out since it was kind of an emotional disaster, this movie behind the scenes.
Huh. Wow. Whenever we see these movies, I mean, everybody's getting along and they're yucking it up and it's fantastic, but you just kind of really never know. There's this seething cauldron of drama behind the scenes there,
Well, that doesn't happen on every movie, of course, but yeah, you're right. It does on some. Just one final little thought on the production for the scene, and again, spoiler alert, I guess, the scene where Bob accidentally blows the house up, producers used a 3/4 size model replica of that actual house that they detonated on a nearby lot. So not an actual house, a 3/4 size. You wonder, though, sometimes, 3/4 size, that's not that much smaller. Why not just blow up the full-size thing and save some money building the model? But, that's why I'm not a producer.
Wow. And of course, now they can just use computer-generated images and they wouldn't actually have to blow anything up. So.
That's very true, although, I think myself and many people, including a lot of filmmakers, still like practical effects whenever they can use them.
All right. So, next time I need to blow up a house.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
hey, before we wrap up, I just wanted to mention Ray and I are less than a month away from doing Fortunato Film School live at Jilly's Music Room. That is September 20th at 11 a.m., Jilly's Music Room, downtown Akron. We are going to be doing the original Superman the movie with Christopher Reeve. I've never done this in Ohio, so this is sort of a literally, once in a billion chance here for a while. And for those who don't know, I will screen the film together, and I'll do live commentary, teach you some behind-the-scenes things, trivia, some mistakes on screen, little production stories. It's a wonderful experience. And if you love Superman, you definitely have to come to this. And if you've never seen it, by all means, you have to come. So, a lot of people have either revisited this movie over the summer or they were thinking about it because of the recent Superman movie. So this is a perfect opportunity to come and join us for a fun morning of film and laughter. And again, that's at Jilly's Music Room, September 20th. And tickets are available now. You can go to my website, joefortunato.net. That's joefortunato.net, and look at the events page and get tickets through that. You can go to Jilly's Music Room website. You can even search on Facebook for Fortunato Film School Live. But you want to get your tickets now because they are selling.
Okay, that sounds fantastic. Well, Joe, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. And, if anybody gets a chance, if you haven't seen this movie yet, you're going to definitely want to rent it, stream it. If you can't find it on the streaming services, you can probably get it for free on DVD from the library here in Akron. Again, Joe Fortunato there. I'm Jeanne Destro in for Ray Horner.